That's how it all begins, ladies and gentlemen, because it is time once again for the Paranormal Portal. How you guys doing? Wonderful to see you guys tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Seems like it's darker in here. I know why it's darker. I had to change the settings and update the driver on my camera, and then there was a setting for streaming. I'm like, oh, let's use that. Well, now I see it's quite a bit darker, though, isn't it? But maybe that's the mood. Maybe that sets the mood. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it too dark? Should it be a little lighter? What do you guys think as you're looking at the screen? Let me know. I can certainly crank up my room light a little more and make it a bit brighter. But I don't know. It's kind of moody and spooky a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, just some thoughts. But yeah, it's been a hell of a day. But I'm actually really exhausted. Looks good to Wizard. Good deal. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the feedback. Yeah, I don't mean to be cloaked in shadows. I've got all the settings the same as they were last night, but with the updated driver and with the different mode for the camera, it's got a longer focal rate, but it is darker. So, depth of field is something with cameras. If you ever look into cameras, there's things called f-stops, and that's basically how big the aperture is to the sensor, how much light is getting in. But when you have a real long depth of field, meaning like an F11 or something, then it's not really as open. The aperture is smaller, so it lets in a little less light. But things are in focus from behind to front and all of that. That's called the depth of field. Now, a lot of photographers will do a real narrow depth of field, like an F1 or F2 or F1.5, and that's where you get the really sharp person in focus, and then things behind them look a little blurry and out of focus. That's a very narrow depth of field, but the aperture is very open, and so lets in a lot of light. But so that's what happened when I changed the focal length. It did make it a little darker. So just to explain a little camera 101 to you guys, so that you understand. why it's a little darker. I'm just seeing if anybody else had any feedback on the camera. We see you, Brent, in the darkness with light in your heart. Oh, that is so sweet. Thank you, Rachel. Yeah, I appreciate that. I try to glow as much as I can, bringing you all the sunshine I can pack into 2 hours. Brent's keeping us in the dark. Well, that's where I like to keep you. Now that sounds creepy. Sorry. Came out wrong. That came out wrong. Who knows what evil lurks in the heart of all men? Brent Thomas knows. I don't know. That's a whole different can of worms, the old hearts of men, the evils in people. Sometimes I'm pretty sure, though, that the real monsters have pulses. And, there's some that don't, but there's a lot of creepy people in the world. But there's a lot of wonderful people, too. And I think all of them are here watching the show, which is good. Salutations to you, Eric Fry. And good to see a Grateful Owl, Wizard Moon, Annie Manule. Who else? Jason Finch. Hello again, Brent Thomas. How are you doing tonight, my big paranormal portal brother? I'm doing good, Jason. Thank you so much for asking. Who else came in? Somebody Conrail fan. Conrail fan is here. Good to see you. Isn't able to normally catch live streams, but is here tonight. So it's good to see you. Thanks for being a part of the show. And Rachel's here. Barbara Mora. Annie Manule is here. John Stevenson. I think John Stevenson. John Temperin is here. Isn't John Stevenson here too? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not yet. I don't know. I'm trying to keep up with the names as they're flying by here, and I'm scrolling up to have a look. But I am absolutely John Stevenson and John Temperin here. The Johns are represented. There we go. But great to see all of you guys. Thank you so much for coming in. Who was the first one in the door? I got to look. I think it was Lucky Gypsy was over there on Twitch right away. Boom. She's having a little bit of troubles with her internet, so she may or may not be able to hang out with us too much tonight, but she's going to try working on her connection, and hopefully she'll be back. But after that was Annie Manule. So great to see you guys. Thank you. Great to see all of you and any new people that have popped in since I've been yapping, since I've been flapping my lips. Remember now, this is the last live stream until September 13th. I'm planning on coming back, doing another live show on September 13th, which is Friday the 13th. I can't think of much more fitting than that for a Paranormal Portal. Paranormal the Portal. What the hell did I just say? I don't even know. But until then, remember, if you need a portal fix between now and then, of course, there's a whole plethora of podcast episodes you can find on all the major podcast platforms, including Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Google Play, Stitcher, CastBox, just a Podbean. There's so many of them out there, and we're on all of them. The Paranormal Portal should be everywhere. So wherever you find podcasts, that's where you should look for the Paranormal Portal. And if you have a cell phone, then you should, like, here's my cell phone, right? There's an icon here. It says podcasts. Every cell phone comes with these. And if you click that, it'll launch your podcast player. And you can do a search for Paranormal Portal there. So there's all kinds of ways to look for the Paranormal Portal. This week's episode is Southern Sasquatch with Tex Wesson of Texas Front Porch. Wonderful guy. I've known Tex for years. We had a great discussion. So there's lots of opportunities there to check things out. And, that's one easy way to find the podcast if you're not familiar with them. Is the Ghost Box on? It is on, Aussie Tip Rat. Thank you for asking, though. I'm at an early Halloween get-together, some private golf resort campground. Wow. I like how you roll, Grateful Owl. Way to roll. I'm every day on the portals is a early Halloween get-together. I think I might have to take a bathroom break. Sorry, I've been drinking lots of fluids today. I've been feeling kind of dehydrated now. Now, of course, it's all running the course. So, but if we do, I'll be sure to give you one of my break videos, which contain all of the musical musings of me and some videos of the paranormal. So what the hell? What's not to love? Rachel gets it right. Yes, they are. Let's see. Grateful House sounds like fun. It does sound like fun. I haven't been, but okay. So why am I not doing live shows? You probably already know if you've been here for a while, because I've been talking about it a lot. But here you go. This is what's coming up this next week. And Sheldon will actually be coming into town tomorrow. I'll be picking him up, and then he and I are going to be driving down to PhenomeCon in Vernal, Utah, ladies and gentlemen, September 4th through the 7th. And it's 4 full days of phenomenal presentations by a bunch of phenomenal speakers. They do a hell of a job on this conference. They really do an amazing job. And if you go to PhenomeCon.net, you can learn more. The VIPs are all sold out, so you can't probably get VIP tickets unless, you're, maybe Jesus could, but that's about it. So those are events, but I'm going to be there. Sheldon's going to be there, and a ton of other great people are going to be there, including Maria Mayer and Russ Accord from Expedition Bigfoot. Most of the cast, the entire cast, will be showing up from Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch. George Knapp's going to be there, Nick Pope, just a whole bunch, and Mr. Tony Merkel of the Confessionals is going to be there. So, I mean, what the hell? What's not to love, right? So you can come check it out. These are the calendar of events you can find at PhenomeCon.net, and it's at the Uinta Conference Center, which is a beautiful location. They do just a marvelous job there. And this will be the 3rd year I've gone, and every year it's just been spectacular. It is a bit of a marathon being a 4-day conference, but it's a phenomenal opportunity to meet and get to know people. And there's so much going on in the area. There's lots of dinosaur attractions, including fossil fields and stuff you can check out. There's a whole bunch of things going on. So you can check it out if you're in the area or can be in the area. That's next week from the 4th through the 7th at the Uinta Conference Center. Love to see you. I'd love to have the chance to get to meet some of you guys if you can be there. I know Barbara Moore is going to be there. She's always presenting her wares, and that's wonderful. I think Karen and Neil will be there. Karen Alberting, of course, and Neil, her husband, will be there as well. And who knows who else will show up. But if you're in the neighborhood, also Jaron and Roman Daniels from Supernatural Station podcast are going to be there. And that'll be great to see them again. They are just wonderful guys. And might be an actual live investigation stream happening. I don't know. I'm just saying it's possible. At least some of it. So keep tuned. If you're not already subscribed to the YouTube, please get subscribed and hit notifications, all notifications. And if I do or am able to stream live, if I have bandwidth, I will stream on location from the investigation that's going to be happening. And I believe that's going to be on Thursday night. So watch your clocks, watch your calendars, and make sure you hit all notifications. I'll do my best to post on social media if we're going to go live. But sometimes I just got to, impromptu. But I will be streaming live from the conference itself as well, just to show you guys around. I know a lot of you guys can't make it because this is, it's very regional. Being in Utah, it's not easy for everyone to get there, especially being the day after Labor Day or the week after Labor Day. It's like, yeah, everybody's got a million things going on, and it's a tough time for people to travel. But if you can be there, that's great. But if you can't, I'll try to bring you there as much as I can. So keep an eye on the notifications, and I'll do my best. But hopefully it'll be a great time. Hopefully you guys will be a part of it in some way. So anyway, that's coming up this next week. That's why I'm not doing live shows this next week. And up and through the middle of next week, I'm going to be slammed. After I get back home, there's several days of so much going on, trying to get my feet back on the ground and get back at it. So Brent, Eric, and I were discussing the movies, The Phantom, The Shadow, and The Rocketeer as a great trio of popcorn movies for a late night watch. Yeah, sounds like they'd be wonderful. I remember The Rocketeer. I did like that one. The Shadow I don't remember as well. The Phantom I don't remember as well. But I remember The Rocketeer. At least the remake of it, unless you're talking about the 50s version of it, then I'm not so sure. But I think there was a a remake of it like in the 80s or early 90s, something like that. And that was fun. Unless there's newer versions. Hell, I don't know. Hollywood's always revamping these stories because I think they're running out of original stories. So anyway, HB Girl to you sending the highs if y'all pop in later. Oh, okay. So I think she's back. I think Gypsy might be back, which is wonderful. Okay, good. All right. So that's what's going on. That's why there won't be live streams scheduled. But watch for the impromptu ones because they could happen at any time. I don't know when. I don't know where. I don't even know how. Well, I can tell you it's going to be through my phone. That's how. But other than that, we'll just I'll notify you as much as I can, and hopefully you can make it. So, as always, this is the last live show on the 31st. The next live show will be the 13th, which is kind of cool. It was actually accidental, but, looking at it being the 31st, no more shows until Friday the 13th, which is 31 backwards. Kind of cool, I think. Anyway, all 90s movies. Okay, gotcha. I didn't know that. Shadow starring, oops, my gun was accidentally loaded. Yeah. Well, there's that. Yeah, there is that. All right. Well, let's get to the news, ladies and gentlemen, and then we're going to get to the Paranormal Portal's Discord question of the week, where we're going to dive into that. Special thanks to Chucky Danger for keeping that fresh and interesting. And thank you, Chucky, if you're out there. Maybe you're not yet, but that's wonderful. So let's get to the news. There's only 3 stories tonight. It's the end of the news cycle, which is Saturdays for us. And I've burned through most of the other ones that I think will be fun to cover on the show. So without any further delay, it's time to get newsed up. I'm about to news you up. I'm going to news you up as much as I know how. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the news. The only news John Stevenson trusts. God bless you, sir. Had to take a swig from the portal swill bucket. It's actually what is it? Blackberry, black cherry concentrate. Squirted into my water. That didn't sound right at all. Should put some fireball in there and make it a party. Anyway, or screwball. Sorry. All right, Forbidden Planet, The Thing, the original Day the Earth Stood Still. I like the Keanu Reeves remake of that. I thought that was really well done. I like that one. Very cool. Welcome to the news desk, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Paranormal Portal as we dive into all things news. And I've pulled up a few articles for us to go through, and I hope you find them interesting. Maybe it'll be things you didn't know. Maybe it'll be new information. Maybe you already knew it, but it'll be presented in a way that you probably didn't expect. It is the portal swill bucket over here. I'm telling you. As always, we utilize a lot of different sites throughout the course of the journey, and I just hope you guys will check them out. These sites are amazingly well done, and they need your support. So if you get a chance at any time and you're got a hankering for some paranormal news and information, articles, pay attention to the sites we use because these are amazing sites and your traffic does keep the lights on. So please give them your love and support. So, all right. The first article comes from an amazing site that we use all the time here on the portal. And this is unexplained-mysteries.com, ladies and gentlemen. This is just a staple of the news. I just exhaust this site every week. I love it. They do such an incredible job. And this person, TK Randall, whoever this person is just incredibly prolific and busy. But here you go. Aliens definitely exist, says head of India's space program. Well, thank you, India's space program, for at least a little bit of transparency. That's wonderful. It's nice to see someone can tell the truth. Well, there you go. Let's check it out. Oh, look at that name. Sridhara Samanath spoke out on the topic of extraterrestrial life during a recent podcast interview. And it's not just NASA. I don't know what's wrong with my palate. It's not just NASA that's looking for signs of alien life. The space agencies of many other countries, including India, which has enjoyed considerable success in its own missions in recent years, are also hoping to find evidence to suggest that we are not alone in the universe. During a recent podcast, Sridhara Samanath, the head of the Indian Space Research Organization, or ISRO, said that he was confident that there is alien life out there. Absolutely. Without a doubt. I was going to try to do an Indian accent, but then I realized I can't do an Indian accent. Sorry. No offense to people from India. You guys talk fantastically. I'm just not good at it. They're absolutely without a doubt, he told Ranveer Alabadia. Okay. My conscience tells me yes, although I have no proof. As the chairman of ISRO, I am telling you this. There are definitely aliens out there in the universe. Aliens means living systems and cultures in other parts of the universe. If they are ahead in technology by just 1,000 years or 10,000 years, they would definitely visit us. Amen. I was glad he quantified that because, a lot of times there's alien life out there. There might be bacteria. It's like, yeah, that's not really what we're going for here. We're not looking for bacteria. Although, if there's bacteria, there's probably more complex organisms as well. But they kind of shoot it off to the side like, well, yeah, there might be plant life or bacteria or mold spores. It's like, yeah, but that's not where we're going with this. We're looking for the people building the UFOs and stuff. Yeah, that's the agenda, not whether you got a colorful leftovers in your fridge. Anyway, according to Samanath, the Earth may be like a zoo to any inquisitive extraterrestrial visitors. And that said, he's not necessarily optimistic about meeting them. Biology is such that all life forms on Earth are connected in some way. Plants, bacteria, fish, animals, and humans. We are evolved from a common ancestor, he said. But if something evolved on another planet, it may have developed in an entirely different way. It may not have the same genomic structure or protein structure, which can be extremely dangerous. When two life forms come into contact, one has to dominate the other, and this is the nature of life. One will not allow the other to survive. It must surpass and destroy the other. Unless these aliens become aware of this and realize that we are different, choosing to remain disconnected in terms of our bodies or chemistry will be catastrophic. It will be Choosing to remain disconnected in terms of our bodies or chemistry. It will be catastrophic. Okay, well, that's maybe true. Maybe they would introduce just a whole crap load of pathogens that our bodies wouldn't know what the hell to do with. It's like, oh, hey, thanks for stopping. They could have just kept the windows rolled up and just strolled through. But I don't know. If they're advanced enough, then they probably already have the bio hazards all sorted out between us and them. And maybe that's what they're doing with the cows and all this other stuff. Is they're just experimenting and checking out how their pathogens work on us in a very isolated and safe manner, so that they don't introduce the whole biome to some brand new alien squid bugs or something, or Russian crotch crickets or something. I don't know. I'm an idiot. I got a microphone. You get to hear all about it. So that's the beauty of the portal. But anyway, there you go. I think it's great. I think the guy's at least he's being intellectually honest about it. I don't know. That to me is pretty powerful, because you can't get anybody over here with any kind of pedigree behind their name as far as academics or sciences to usually get on this bandwagon. That's why I love Avi Loeb, the guy from Harvard, who's like, thought Oumuamua was a potentially some kind of a mothership kind of thing, or at least alien technology. I thought that was fantastic. It's like, wow, an academic in the United States that's not afraid to make those stabs. You know, I mean, it's a brave thing. But most of our scientific communities just scoff at such nonsense. It's just foolishness. But anyway, Siberian crotch cricket, the new cryptid. I don't want that. I don't want to meet that cryptid. Ah, God. They make cow butthole birria tacos in space. Oh, God. I didn't need that visual. I could have gone all day without that one. Thank you, SoCal. Oof. Jesus. They're like donuts. I don't know. Anyway. Ugh. I gotta change the story here quick. I it's my own fault. I did it. I started it. I'm gonna own that. All right, let's go to the next article from unexplained-mysteries.com, ladies and gentlemen. Here's another one from Science and Technology, and this is having to do with DARPA, believe it or not. DARPA's working on a way to put humans into suspended animation. Looking for the deep space work is what that seems. Huh. How about that? You imagine, like say it takes 10 years, they develop some astronomically fast method of propulsion. To get 1,000 light years away, it takes maybe 10 years. So you go there and you're out, you're in the state of the art craft, and you leave over a 10-year cycle, and it's not like a time paradox, whatever subspace fields could keep it all anchored together or whatever. But anyway, or warp fields or whatever. But so you go 10 years and you get there, and it's like you're using a Commodore 64 when back at home they got this 10 years more advanced hardware. I mean, look at a 10-year-old computer at this point. I mean, they're dinosaurs. So how do you send these people on these deep space missions with the state-of-the-art stuff and have them arrive with state-of-the-art stuff? Well, they're not gonna. They're gonna arrive with antiquated technologies, even though I'm sure their technologies are far advanced to our consumer brands, but not the cutting-edge quantum computers and all that stuff that they're developing, or whatever, mushroom computers, whatever. I mean, it's kind of a scary proposition. They would be arriving with 10, 20-year-old technologies, and they wouldn't have the benefits of what we would have developed here in the meantime. So when you look at the technological advancements, I mean, it's just, think about 20 years ago what technology looked like versus today. I mean, we're literally almost Star Trek from where we were 20 years ago. Obviously not quite, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, we got these, tablets and on all this crazy stuff, 20 years ago, that wasn't a thing, or 25 or 30, whatever. So, but if they could put people in suspended animation, would that stop the aging clock, for that matter? What if somebody's got undetectable cancer and then they're in suspended animation for 20 years while they go into deep space, and then they thaw out. And meanwhile, the cancer's like everywhere. It's like, oh, I don't know if that's how it works. I guess, I don't know. Would you still age? I don't know. These are all questions. Let's see what the article says. Inducing hypersleep could help patients with critical injuries or illnesses, among other potential uses. In science fiction, it's not uncommon to hear of technologies capable of putting a person into suspended animation so that they do not age during long-haul space missions. I knew that. I knew that was an application for sure. In the real world, we have yet to come up with a way to achieve this, but that hasn't stopped DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, and the creator of what became the internet, which was DARPANet back in the day, from having a good go. Together with researchers from Harvard University, the agency is looking to find a way to pause the clock, in particular for patients suffering from time-critical injuries or illnesses. If they could be placed into suspended animation or hypersleep, It would give doctors more time to treat them or enable injured soldiers in the battlefield to survive until help arrives. Yeah, that'd be cool. Cooling a patient's body down to slow its metabolic processes has long been used in medical settings to reduce injuries and long-term problems from severe conditions, but it can only currently be done in a well-resourced hospital, said study co-author Michael Super. His last name is Super. He's so super. He's a super researcher. Wow, I bet you that guy got so much crap growing up. Poor guy. I don't even know what nationality was that. What would your nationality be if your last name was Super? Kryptonian? Thank you. I'm here all night. Anyway, interestingly, clinical overdoses of a new research aims to use Alzheimer's drug donepezil to induce this effect on demand outside of a hospital setting, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Interestingly, clinical overdoses of DNP in patients suffering from Alzheimer's disease have been associated with drowsiness and reduced heart rate, symptoms that are, what is that, torpor-like? What the hell is torpor-like? Said study lead author Maria Plaza Oliver. However, this is the first study to our knowledge that focus on leveraging those effects as the main clinical response and not as side effects. Yeah, I bet you they're going to probably make another medicine that just focuses on those effects, I guess, once they figure out what it is in that medicine that does it. I don't know. I mean, yeah, there could be some real beneficial reasons for this, but you got to wonder about the deep space thing because, as fast as technology goes, I mean, God, you imagine it's like going 50 light years and ending up with a Commodore 64, Well, it was great back in my day. But if they can stop aging, that would be, I don't know how I feel about that. It's like, I don't know if you could go to a doctor and have them give you a shot and it would stop the aging clock completely. Would you do it? I don't know. I might. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on that because I think there's a process to all of this. I don't know why I'm going this direction with my dialogue, but it does make you think. Like if they could stop the aging clock, I don't, or even reverse some of the mileage would be nice, because the thing with aging is that you don't really feel old in your mind a lot of times, unless you've got some kind of neurological debilitation going on, but you don't feel old. You feel like the same 18, 20-year-old that you were. It's just that, all of a sudden the shell you're in is it's like, you feel like you got to rotate the tires every once in a while and you can't, so would you, if they could stop aging? I'm on a serious poll. If you became aware of a technology that emerged that could stop your aging or even reverse it so you could be like eternally 30 years old or whatever. I don't know what the sweet spot is. For me, it'd probably be about 30, 35. That was probably when I felt like the healthiest and, other than, knee injuries and stuff like that. But I felt good. I felt like that was a pretty physically good point in my life. So Kitty Catawak says, I'd do it to match my motto, young and 21. Yeah. What does the rest of the article say? What do you mean? I just read the whole thing. That was it. That was all of it. They're just looking into some research to figure out how to put people in suspended animation, and they're using an Alzheimer's drug as kind of the model because side effects of taking too much, slowed heart rate and all that stuff. So they figure maybe that's where they're going to start. But seriously, yes, I've really slowed down in the last 3 years. Yeah, I feel that too. I it's like as I've gotten older, one thing I've noticed is that when I was younger, now it's gotten a lot better since I've lost a bunch of weight. But when I was heavy, when I was at my heaviest, like you kind of weigh your options. Like, do I really need to go to the bathroom right now? Maybe I can put it off for a little bit. Or do I really need to get a drink? Am I really that thirsty? And because it kind of hurts to get up. And so you sit there, but then you think back when you're a kid, you'd be like, You go out and, run a mile chasing each other around the house, barely able to breathe, sucking down water like, and then you'd lay down and watch cartoons for an hour, and then you get up and run upstairs and, back to chasing tag and stuff. And it's like, I remember what that was like to just be able to not think about the physical stuff. Be like, oh, let's go do this. Let's go ride bikes. Let's go hike on the hill. All these things that now would be like, yeah, I'm not really feeling that right now. So I think I would, just for that fact. I mean, I don't want to be an eternal person. Like, I wouldn't want to live forever, because I just think that, this is a process, and our journey here is not meant to be permanent, but it would be nice if we could at least have the benefits of that younger body throughout the journey. And whenever it's done, it's done. But I don't know. That's my case. I would, as long as I could still pass one day. Yeah, exactly, Wizard. I don't want to live forever. Me either. Yes, I'd say 25 years in age, although I've been told I got inflammation in my neck, maybe other areas, but I've got no other symptoms. So a cure for inflammation would be on the list too. Yeah, that's tough. I'm sorry to hear that, Rachel. That must be kind of miserable. I'll let others go first. Well, anybody can chime in. I'd just like to hear what your thoughts are. Do you guys remember that NFL player about 10 years ago that had a neck injury and they packed ice on him and he regained his feeling in his legs? Oh, no, I don't. I don't remember that. Brent, you thought you stopped again. What? I thought you stopped again, but after that paragraph, you did it earlier, so I figured I didn't finish it yet. Oh, yeah, no worries, no worries. I just wanted you to know that I did read it. Thanks to football, I got arthritis in my neck. Yeah, that sucks. No pain at all, just apparently inflammation. Well, if it's not painful, that's good. That's good. But, I just think, yeah, it'd be nice if we could go back to that, whatever that perfect age for you is. Like, you can go to the doctor and say, you know what? Take off 20. Take off 20. I'm good. I don't have to be a teenager, but I, although being a teenager was pretty carefree physically for me, other than, maladies that I was born with or had developed through the years. But, yeah, I think that old saying is kind of true. Youth is wasted on the young. You don't realize it until you get older. It's like, oh man, do I really have to go to the bathroom? I think I can wait. I can wait. And then you finally do have to go. And it's like, okay, let's just do it. And you grit your teeth and you deal with it. But the ice slowed the swelling in his spine and he regained functions, but his football days were over. Well, that's still, I mean, if it defeated the paralysis issues, but he had to give up football, well, maybe that's fair. At least he can walk and maybe have a normal life. Maybe not his dream life, but then again, he did play NFL. So that's a huge thing no matter how long you do it. Stem cells, maybe, SoCal, maybe. But that kind of stuff also scares me. Again, I wouldn't want to be the first guy. I wouldn't want to be the first one like, hey, you got new technology? Try it on me. I'll wait for the exhaustive clinical studies to finish up, and then maybe I'll try it. But I just thought that was neat. So at any rate, let's get to the last news article for tonight. What the hell did I just pull? Well, there it is. It finally loaded. My computer kind of froze for a sec. This old pewter, it's been working hard for years and years and years here on the portal. All right, here's the last news article for the night. This is from Science and Technology. Did I catch the last article? Yeah, it was about the suspended animation studies, including the Alzheimer's stuff. This is the last article right now that I'm going to read right now. Okay, here we go from unexplained-mysteries.com. 4 recent breakthroughs in understanding how and why we're dreaming. Oh, dear God, look at how long this is. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put a link in because we did talk about dreaming, and I think that dreaming is probably maybe an indicator that we're multidimensional. Not that there aren't nonsense dreams, there are, but I think that sometimes we experience an existence outside of our normal existence through dreaming, and maybe it's also akin to astral projecting, but. In any case, a lot of those things I think are very closely related. But I'm going to put the link in the chats, and you guys can check it out at your leisure. if you so choose. All right, so there it is, and I hope you guys will check it out. It's just a lot to cover in our show because I have so much to cover, and this being the last live show until the 13th of Friday, the 13th of September. I just want to keep moving. But I suppose I can read the first part. We experience dreams on a regular basis, but there's still much about them that we don't know. Anthony Bloxham, I guess this is his article or his paper. People have pondered whether dreams have a purpose throughout human history. Modern scientists are fascinated with this question too. For a long time, science of dreams has oscillated between fringe research and the mainstream, but creative study designs and new technology are transforming it into an exciting and serious research niche. Here are 4 recent breakthroughs that may pave the way for a greater understanding of dreaming. Lucid dreams, I'll read this one. In 2021, an international study showed that two-way communication between a lucid dreamer and a researcher in the lab was possible. In 2024, another study built on this by training lucid dreamers to control a virtual car from within their dreams. The 12 dreamers in the experiment made slight muscle twitches which sent a signal to a computer to make the virtual vehicle move forwards or turn. Signals were sent back to the dreamer to inform them of the obstacles and try to avoid, and some could move the car well, but others, no matter how hard they tried, could not. While fascinating, it's still unknown how such technology could be used in everyday life, and the small sample of the study, in part owing to the rarity of skilled lucid dreamers, limit the conclusions we can take from it, but the findings suggest that it may be possible, at least with practice, for some people to make decisions from inside a dream and communicate them to the outside world. I got the perfect solution. Instead of a virtual car, make it a vacuum cleaner. And then people can go to bed and do their vacuuming while they sleep, and then they'll wake up and their floors are clean. And that way they don't have to spend their waking time going, because that's about no fun. Or a lawnmower, for God's sakes. Just either make a robot to do it. I got one of those Roomba things, and they're okay. But the problem with them is you got to empty them all the time, and it's a pain in the tail anyway. It's almost quicker just to plug in a vacuum and just do it, but it's kind of nice if you're busy and it just runs on its own. But usually the thing fills up real quick. They got those little bins in there. And I have pets, so you know how that works. That thing fills up with fur like crazy. But I do like the lawnmower idea. And I know they make them. It's like a Roomba for your lawn, except it's much more robust. Husqvarna makes one. I don't know if they're any good or not. I just saw that they're out there. But I love that idea. Here's the thing. Make AI take care of that stuff. Calm vacuum, pick up stuff so you don't vacuum it into the vacuum. And mow the lawn. Do things that really assist. You know, everyday people. Maybe your dishes. Maybe dusting. All that stuff that just is mundane, absolute mind-numbing waste of creative time. It's got to get done, and you got to do it, but it doesn't mean it's fun. So check out the rest of it. Why Do We Dream is another thing. Insights from Long Dream series. Dream Recall. It covers a lot of these things, and maybe you'll find that interesting. I don't know what to think. I mean, you know, again, dream research, mind research is very, very in the very infantile stages. We just don't understand a lot about what's going on with our thought process, with consciousness, and with these altered states of consciousness, including dreaming. So, again, I've had some amazingly profound experiences while dreaming, and I believe I've connected with people that have passed, that, you know, my loved ones that have passed. And it's been incredible. It's been incredible experiences. So, you know, take of it what you will. But I think dreams are incredibly profound. And if they aren't, then, for instance, sleep deprivation is used as a form of torture, or at least to add psychological stress to get somebody to crack, you know, and it is torturous. Now, some could say, well, it's because the body needs to rest. I mean, it's just important to hit that resting state, but it's also important for our psychology. Why is that? Why is it so integral to our psychological well-being? that we have dreaming and are able to sleep and go into those, I don't know, semi-conscious or unconscious states. It has to be something profound to the whole of our being. And I think that dreaming is important. I don't think it's just the nonsense of a subconscious mind processing stuff. I think there's a lot more going on. Not all the time. I think some of it is garbage, but some of it I think is incredibly profound. So again, I think that it's fascinating, and I don't know what they expect to find with given the knowledge that we have, but it's got to start somewhere. So you be the judge. But anyway, that has been a presentation of the Paranormal Portal news, and we're going to get back to the rest of the show now. Are you guys getting any lag? So let me know if you're getting any lag. If you don't dream, then you get psychosis. Yeah, that's exactly it, Annie. There's no way dreams are just conjured up in our minds every time. I too have had amazing, profound type dreams that if I didn't wake up, would have thought it was a normal day. Absolutely, Jaron. I'll tell you what, guys, seriously, and this is 100% serious. There's been a few times in my life where I have had dreams that have lasted. In the dream, it seemed to last years. Like I've experienced a lifetime, a few times in my life, dreaming. It would just go on and on and on and on and on. And I saw entire experiences and realities that I've never known in my waking life, but I've experienced those things in dreams. And it's like, how come it took so long? And you wake up and you think, my God, I must have been asleep for a week. And it's been, 20 minutes or something. It's like, how did that happen? It's beyond space time. It's just some connection to this, I don't know, eternal consciousness or the divine mind or whatever. I don't know, but true story. I don't know what it means, but those are very real experiences for me. Interestingly enough, there was a guest on Joe Rogan quite a while ago, and he was talking about, I don't know, he was doing DMT or mushrooms or something, some kind of psychedelic. And he wasn't doing it on the show, but he was relating the experience, or the experience was related on Joe Rogan. But the guy apparently took extra hits of this DMT stuff, and he went back in his chair and he said suddenly he found himself in this aquatic life form, like he was a person, but it was like under the ocean. And he had this whole several month experience. He had friends, he had relationships, he had all of this stuff going on in this dream. And then, 10 minutes later he came to, but for him, his experience was like months. And I can kind of relate to that because it's very similar to what was going on in my dreams when I've had those incredibly long dreams. I don't know if they are quote unquote real experiences, but they were real experiences for me. And it's amazing. I don't know. But, through psychedelics and stuff, there's certainly, I'm not encouraging the use of those things. I mean, you got to make your own decisions based on, research and what you think is safe. But, I know that people have reported these incredible experiences, but you be your own judge on that. I'm not encouraging it or discouraging it, but yeah, people in those experiences are seeing something. Brent, don't you feel like you don't want to come back in those types of dreams after you realized it was a dream? Yeah, there was one. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, there's no way I can put it into words really. It was incredibly profound, but it didn't take place here. It took place in I don't know, for lack of a better term, the afterlife or some version of that. I don't know how else to explain it, but the things that I saw and the things that I experienced were incredible. They were just incredible. And it wasn't a near-death experience or anything like that, but it was like a lifetime. And it was like in those, I don't know how long I was asleep, but I know that when I woke up, I think it was 2:30 a.m. or something like that. And I'd been asleep since maybe 10:30, 11. And so all of these years of experience happened in that window somewhere. But it was so profound and so real, and the experiences were so incredible. And they helped to paint my spiritual awareness that I have now. Because, I mean, as far as I know, they were exceptionally real, but they were just so incredibly different. I don't know how else to explain it. Yeah, there is that too, SoCal. I did try that once too. Now, just for the record, this dream that I'm explaining to you happened long time ago when I was like, I think I was about maybe 30 years old, maybe under. But I was there. I mean, I was there, and I saw and experienced things that I don't know how to put into words. But the beauty of it is that I didn't forget. Like all of that experience came back with me. Not that it's, necessarily helped me in a whole bunch of ways, but I think the awareness has helped me in a whole bunch of ways, just to get out of this, three-dimensional mindset and realize that we're part of something so incredibly huge and amazing. I don't know I'm probably talking nonsense. So I'm sorry if I'm being bizarre, but I'm just relating my experience. That's one of the most profound dreams. Another one, I've had other ones that took place in different time periods, where they were long dreams. I don't know how else to explain it, but actually by the clock they weren't. They were just probably normal dreams, but I lived lifetimes in these other experiences. So let me rephrase 3 books. What happened in your dream? You had only been asleep for 20 minutes. Let me rephrase. Wake up, could write. I don't know. I missed the first part of your statement there. But dreams are powerful, folks. I don't know exactly what they are, but I think that they do represent that we are multidimensional beings, and probably tied to, the universal mind in so many more ways than we realize. And maybe we get glimpses of that through some of these experiences. I had a recurring story dream. I'd wake up and go back to sleep 4 times. It's a lot of detail, biblical, the Antichrist theme as well. The night before 9/11, bad feeling, woke up 5 minutes later, 9/11. Yeah, there's no question dreams can be prophetic. And I've also experienced horror dreams that I think I was being attacked spiritually during those dreams, but incredibly terrifying. I'm not just talking about the Hat Man dreams that I've shared before on the show. I'm talking about something much more sadistic and horrible. And it was horrible. I was being tormented for a long time. And it was like, I guess I'll just tell you guys. I don't know how else to go about this, but I've told you guys that I've dealt with some really dark stuff in my life. Something was, I don't know if it was trying to take over me or attacking me or whatever. And you can believe or not believe this. It's not, again, it's not the scope of this show for me to convince you of anything. I'm just telling you my experience. So take it for whatever it means. If you think it's nonsense, let it be nonsense. It doesn't matter. But this is my experience. I had this dream, and it was horrible. And I was sitting by a campfire in this dream. Now I went to bed in my own bed, and I was a teenager at this point. And I went to bed in my own bed, and I found myself sitting next to this campfire. And it was real. I was sitting there. Now, across from me on the other side of the campfire was this friend that I had known. He was much older than me, but we'd go fishing all the time. I was about 15 at this time, and he was, I think he was 30. But he was a really nice guy, and he was kind of like a big brother figure or an uncle figure to me. He was just a really kind person. But in my dream, he was sitting across the fire from me. We're both sitting with our legs crossed. And I look up, and he's sitting there, but he's looking at me. And it looks like him, but is not him. His eyes are ice cold. And they're peering into my soul. I mean, they're just peering right through me. I felt like a window more than a person, like I was being seen through. And this was a piercing gaze with kind of a smirk, kind of like like a sadistic smirk. And he's sitting there, and I'm like going, what the hell's going on? And at my legs is this knife. Now, this is a dream. This does get a little graphic. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to say it. But I'm just trying to share with you. This is one of a myriad of things that I experienced when I went through this really, for lack of a better term, a spiritual battle. And I'm in this dream. I'm stuck. And it's real. He's sitting across me, glaring and not blinking, just glaring with that smirk. And it was just horrifying. And I'm sitting there, and then my arm reaches down. I didn't tell it to. I didn't tell my arm to do anything. And it grabs the knife. And it pulls the knife up. And it brings it up to my throat. This is my arm in the dream. But it's like I have no control of it. And I can't help but look ahead with horror in my eyes. And here's where it gets gross. I'm sorry. Here's where it gets gross. I start sawing on my own neck. And I can feel every bit of it. I can feel the sensation of this blade going into my neck. And I can't stop it. I can't do anything. And I can feel the warm fluid coming out of me. And I'm still can't do anything until I got nearly all the way through. My head flopped. And then I folded forward, and it was blackness for a second. And then boom, I'm back by the fire with my legs crossed, looking at this person. And this whatever this was, it made me do this to myself repeatedly, maybe 20, maybe 30 times, and I couldn't do anything except be horrified and unable to do anything except sit and witness my own demise over and over and over and over. And I couldn't do anything. I was stuck. I was there. I couldn't do anything except repeatedly, I don't know, die. But I don't know what the purpose of it was, just to maybe break me down, whatever. But it's a true story. And it was absolutely horrifying. And that's just one of many, many things that I experienced through that period where whatever this was just trying to break me. This is very editorial, and I usually don't do this, and I've often said I'll never talk about it, but I don't know how else to say it. But it's a true story. And it was terrifying. But take it or leave it. I'm not expecting everybody out there listening to that to believe it, but it was a very real experience for me, and it was just horrifying. Yeah, it was terrifying. It was, even just, I don't have the emotional response anymore just because I know that this was just part of a long battle that I had to overcome, and I've overcome it. But it's still something I don't like to talk about because it was just so twisted and so horrible and horrifying. And I felt so small and so helpless, and there was no help. I mean, there was nothing. I just had to sit there and experience it. So I don't know, but again, those kind of trials, I guess maybe they help to create a spiritual fortitude in us or give us an inner strength we didn't know we had. And, it's just my journey. So take it or leave it. But that's why I also say don't poke the universe, or don't poke the darkness too much, because something might be waiting, So I don't know. Anyway, you heard that smacking again. Yeah, it was super creepy. It was horrifying. I can't explain to you how visceral and real it was, and how terrifying it was, and just how, I guess the most horrifying part is that I was doing it to myself, but it wasn't me. Something was doing it to me over and over and over. It was just, I don't know. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Rachel. Exactly, Shelley. Something might poke back when I was old enough to know about religion. So, I don't know. You need to delete your ghost machine. But it also, I mean, as horrifying as that experience was, and as terrifying as it was, I really do think that it helped me find a deeper strength. And, you know, God, it helped me find God and bring that into my life. And, you know, so I don't know. We all have journeys, right? We all have the trials, but that was just one of mine. Good to see you, Wes. Thanks for coming in, brother. That was good. Did you? I was telling everybody to check out the 500th episode of From the Shadows, because that was a great interview. You did. It was a marvelous interview, actually. All right. So I'm still in the news here. I guess we're done with the news. I'll just go back to this screen now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I took a bunch of time, but I think dreams are powerful. They are important, and they do indicate something more that transcends our physical reality, our physical experience. Like something is happening in dreams that I think is incredibly profound and powerful, and it may be demonstrating our awareness or our participation in so much more of the whole that is, you know, reality. So, all right. I do want to get to the next part of this show, which is the Discord question of the week, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, thank you to Chucky Danger for keeping this happening and keeping it going and always coming up with amazing questions to put to our Discord community. If you're not already a member of the Paranormal Portal Discord, please become the member. We'd love to have you over there. There's amazing conversations happening, people sharing some incredible links to different sites and things that they've found dealing with the paranormal. There's all kinds of discussion threads. And if you look in the show description, whether you're on YouTube, Rumble, or wherever you're watching, look for that link. It's in the description. You can join. It's absolutely free and open to everybody. And we welcome all. So, all right. All right, let's get to the Discord question of the week, because it's that time. All right, and here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Discord question of the week. It is time once again. It's Saturday. This is our Saturday agenda. And again, special thanks to Chucky Danger. I appreciate all of his efforts on the show's behalf. Wonderful guy. I haven't seen him come in yet tonight. Have you guys? Has Chucky been around? Grandizer, I'm always smacking my lips. It's just what I do. Quit making fun of me. All right. All right, let's get to the Chucky Danger question of the week here on the Paranormal Portal Discord. Let's see. The question for this week. Sometimes in ghostly encounter, animal spirits are reported, such as dogs, cats, and horses. This gets right to what Wes was saying about his dreams. Why do you think that we don't see huge amount of animal spirits, especially around traumatic mass casualty places, such as slaughterhouses? Do you think becoming a ghost requires a certain level of sentience? That's a great question. A lot to ponder there. Let's see what you guys said. Said something in my mouth. All right. John T comes in first and I say animals have souls, and I believe there is an attachment to the one seeing them. Ah, good point. Good point. Like maybe some form of a quantum entanglement or just love or the desire for those two entities, us and these animals, to stay at that emotional connection. That's a good point, John. Thank you. Eric the Wandering Purple Hobbit comes in next and says, because animals know their place and what they're used for and purpose. The only spirits we see in the form of animals are pukas or demons luring us into unwanted situations, but I suppose on the rare occasion it can be a loving pet looking out for us. Yeah, maybe. It's certainly possible that, some animal spirits are not actually animals. Maybe they're something else, some other form of consciousness, maybe something nefarious. That's always possible. Not too haunted. Not too haunted. I like that name. This is not too haunted. Well, honestly, there's a location not far from me that you will hear a ghost horse running and neighing, and absolutely no horses near here, but who knows? I definitely am now going to have to go. Huh. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting if you could record that. If it would be possible that, sometimes these ghost sounds are not actually physical sounds, but they're kind of received energetically. Think of it like some people, in many cases, people can be investigating and they can be in a group and there can be a couple people, 3 people, maybe a bigger group. And only certain members of that group maybe hear a shrill, horrible scream. And everybody else is there like, oh my God, you guys hear that scream? And other people are like, what? What scream? Now, it's not consistently so, but it does lead me to believe that some of these sounds that people perceive are maybe not a physical sound, but an energetic sound, or even a telepathic thing that maybe not everybody can tune into it, but certain people with certain levels of sensitivity can. And so they do get to experience those, horrifying sounds. But great point. CMB, Chasing Mound Builders, comes in next. Says, it's the ascension of consciousness. Could a dog, for example, rise in consciousness to the point it becomes completely individualized? I think maybe, but it might be a little more difficult to do. That being said, I've worked at slaughterhouses, and at one, we did kill on Mondays and Wednesdays, cow and hog respectively, and there certainly was grim energy to the place. Something not quite right. Yeah, that's the sad part. I have no plans on becoming a vegetarian, but I don't love the fact that, things have to die for us to eat meat. But then again, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know how I quantify or justify it, but it's just been a part of human experience since the beginning of humans. Certainly I could see that the animals there, there's got to be some awareness, like, wait a minute, like even bringing a dog to the vet. Sometimes animals just know, like, not just because they got shots or something, but they just sometimes get nervous around veterinary clinics. And maybe it's because they maybe euthanize some pets, and there's just that energy there, and so it's almost palpable. But I imagine in a slaughterhouse it would be even more. What is that place? Bobby Mackey's in Kentucky, which is going to be shutting down. I think they're going to be demolishing the place or whatever. It's going to be shutting down finally, but which is sad because that's been an iconic location. But I think they used to slaughter hogs in that location back in the 20s or earlier. And so it had all that energy built up on it on top of a myriad of other things through the ages. And so including maybe some mafia stuff and maybe some murder and mayhem going on there. So it kind of is the perfect storm with all those things considered. But, starting out on a slaughterhouse and then building upwards with other negativity or at least, twisted energies can have horrible effects. So, yeah, slaughterhouses are pretty rough. All right, Annie Manul comes in next and says, this is a very insightful question. As some of you already know, I had a ghost cat, and she would walk on me, snuggle, and knock over her photo when annoyed. She stayed until I got a new cat, which was about 6 years later. If by sentience you mean being able to feel things, then yes, the emotional bond would definitely be a factor, but I've had other cats, including a psychic one, bothering psychic family and friends, none of which became ghosts. Maybe they put in an appearance when they want to. My best friend, who is a cat breeder, and who has had over 30 cats, married my favorite cousin. He's an animal psychic, and one day he was laughing his head off because every time she prayed, he could see her over 30 past cats appear while she was unaware of them. And it was one packed living room. So maybe it's the loving sentience between humans and animals that leads to animal ghosts. Perhaps it's why there aren't many ghostly farms or stockyards. The connection between farmers and their stock has to be at a greater emotional remove than those we have as pets, whereas love may encourage them to come back. That's a great point. I think there is something to that maybe, I don't know, it's hard to say. But what if it's due to the fact that we exchange love with these little creatures? You know, that creates that bond, that spiritual entanglement, so to speak. And so when they do pass, they come back. But say, for instance, like a stockyard or, you know, a slaughterhouse or whatever, there's never been that emotional connection to people and maybe our plane. Maybe that's, you know, maybe when they pass, there's nothing attaching them to this plane. You know, they live their lives, they graze on grass, they do whatever they do, and then someday they get brought to this, you know, this slaughterhouse, and then it's lights out, and boom, they just return home. There's nothing that binds them here like the emotion that we share with loved pets and things like that. That maybe that does create an entanglement, that they do come back, and maybe they stay by our sides. But that's a wonderful idea. The Unknown comes up next and says, that's a fascinating question. The rarity of animal spirits, especially in places like slaughterhouses where you'd expect, many could be attributed to several factors. One possibility is that becoming a ghost might indeed require a certain level of sentience or self-awareness. Humans, with their complex emotions and subconsciousness, may be more likely to leave behind an imprint or essence after death, especially if they have unresolved feelings or attachments. Animals, while certainly capable of emotions, might not possess the same level of self-awareness or the same kind of unresolved issues that would lead to a ghostly manifestation. Another theory could be that the spirits we encounter are influenced by human perception. We might be more likely to recognize and report human spirits because we relate to them more closely. If animal spirits are present, we might not perceive them in the same way, or we might interpret them as something else. Lastly, if it's also possible that animals have a different relationship with the afterlife, they might pass more cleanly without leaving behind a ghostly presence, or their spirits might take forms we don't recognize or understand. I'm just taking a short shot in the dark. The afterlife is something I think we would all love to know about. And anyway, if I'm not here when you read this, everyone, have a great day or nights, and even a fantastic week. Your Canadian friend, The Unknown. That's some great insights. Really wonderful thoughts. Absolutely. Next up comes Karen Alberding. Honestly, I think animals are much more connected to the spiritual world than we are by far. I think the few that do stick around really loved where they were and choose to hang around, or as in the case of our dog Buddy, showed himself to my hubby just to let him know he was okay, because my hubby was heartbroken and he was just letting him know he was fine. I think animals are on a whole different level than we are, and connected to the earth and spiritual realm so much more than us. That's just how I feel. They sense things our thick skulls don't seem to have the ability to comprehend. Wow, wonderful thoughts. Yeah, absolutely. And coming up next is Rachel 101, closing up the show. And she says, like others have said, pets have an emotional connection to their families. About sentience, animals in slaughterhouses experience trauma, and there could be a spiritual escape reflex that unbinds them from the earth. The connection is severed, as subconsciously sentience may play a part in their release from becoming a ghost. I believe these animals do have sentience, as our beloved pets do. Food animals have a much different relationship with their environment. The spiritual sentience helps them to escape, so to whatever exists beyond the veil. Yeah, great thoughts, everybody. I don't know what I would add to that. I just think that's some pretty incredible insights, guys. Well done. Great thoughts. Everybody, thank you so much. Hey, Isaac, good to see you. Glad you came in. And Dog Diggers over in Rumble, too. Good to see you as well. And yeah, that was the question of the week. So if you're not already a member of the Discord, please become a member. We'd love to have you over there and be a part of the discussions. As you can see, there's all kinds of discussion threads. There's question of the week, general. When you join, this is where you'll be joining to. Char Lenzen put this in, found this cute little dude at $1 AMA here. Well, that's awesome. There's episode discussions. There's Bigfoot. There's Dogman. There's ghosts. There's UFOs, extraterrestrial encounters, cryptids, even music, which is really cool because you guys post some really cool stuff. And then Strange Phenomena, Paranormal Library, Paranormal Movies, and Paranormal Art Gallery. People post their arts creations. Very cool. And even Paranormal Humor, and then the Paranormal Kitchen. So there's always good things going on here in the Discord. Lots to do. And if you'd like to see another thread created, let Sheldon or I know. I know Sheldon checks the Discord more than I do. But some really cool stuff's going on here. And thank you to everybody that is a member. And thank you to everybody that participated in the question of the week. You guys are awesome. So let's get back to the rest of the show. All right, I got to close that because every time I open that screen, it's going to pop up again. There we go. I'm not moving until after the interest rates go down and the economy recovers. I can't afford to move. I don't make Merkel media money. Yeah, that's true. And none of us do. None of us do. Yeah, that Tony Merkel. I'm looking forward to it, though, Wes. I'm going to be seeing him in Vernal. Well, hopefully I'll be seeing him. I don't know. He might be too VIP for me. I'm not sure how this works, but it'll be nice to meet Tony, though. I'll stop by and say hi to him at least. Maybe we'll bond. Start being pen pals or something. No, I think Tony's a wonderful guy. Doing some great stuff. Brent, I sent you, Sheldon, and everyone else a story on the Grinning Man. There was not a response. So maybe I don't know if you had time to get it. Where'd you send it? Where'd you send it, Grandizer? I didn't see it. I don't think I saw it. Did you send it to email? If you do, please send it to paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. That's probably the best way to get my attention, but, it does take me some time. I've been just swamped getting ready for this conference. Every spare minute has been prepared with either getting things done for the shows while I'm gone, like the podcast for this coming week, or getting packed up, prepared, getting supplies, everything I'm going to need for the long journey. On the Discord, okay, I haven't seen it. We'll have to look into it. Maybe for Friday the 13th, if I remember. But yeah, just ding me again over there on Discord. I just don't get into Discord as often as I'd like, just because, life has just been a tornado lately. I said, Brent, please read this. Okay, got it. I got it. I just didn't see it. And unfortunately, there's not enough time now to dig into it. But we're going to go on to the cryptids, folks, because it's got to be cryptid time, right? Now, I think we exhausted. Let me see. There it is. There we go. We're going to be diving into some phantoms and monster stories tonight. I think first, though, I think I need a commercial break because I got to use the loo. I've been drinking way too many fluids. And I don't want the last thing to be floating is me. All right, so smacking lips, man. Grandizer, I'm going to time you out if you keep talking about my smacking lips. All right, it's time to go to break. All right, I'll be right back. right. Sorry about that. I got better. I'm doing much better now, folks. Thank you very much for all your concern and caring, in case you were wondering. All right. It is once again time for the creatures and cryptids. So let's do this. Let's do this. All right. Let's see. Let's do this. Thanks, Isaac. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cryptid Corner, where we dive into all things cryptid and creatures and all the wonderful stuff. Dealing with these beings that surround us in our world and are probably lurking in the shadows right outside your window at this very moment. I'm just saying, it could be. I don't know. But we are going to start our journey tonight at phantomsandmonsters.com, and this is Lon Strickler's site, a wonderful site full of thousands of encounter stories there. And if you haven't checked out Lon's site, please do. It's just got a lot of great cryptid creature encounters, along with UFO and spiritual stuff as well. He just kind of covers all the bases. So check it out. You can find out about Lon's published works and his podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio. And that is also a YouTube channel. And you can watch Lon do live streams on that channel. Oh, my shoulder popped. Did you hear that pop? That was my shoulder. Oh, God, I'm getting old. All right. So let's start this out. This first one is coming from Tuesday, August 13th, 2024. Couple observes two massive unknown quadrupeds near Walbridge Park in Toledo, Idaho, or Ohio. I said Idaho. That's where I live. That's not where this happened. Yeah. My brain is so baked right now. Not in a good way either. Just juggling too many things. Let's get to this. A Toledo, Ohio couple is in their car when they observe two large quadruped shadows in the headlights. Well, they have no idea what they saw, but the impressive size made a distinct impact on them. I received the following account. Hi, Lon. This happened in 2016. I'm not sure of the exact date, but I do know that it was cooler outside, possibly late fall or even early winter. I live in Toledo, Ohio. If you're not familiar with the area, it basically sits on the border of the Ohio-Michigan state line and about 15 to 20 minutes from the Indiana border. So around here, we just call it Northwest Ohio. Toledo is a very populated city, but it also has tons of woods and forest-type areas within the city limits. Excuse me. So even in the city, you'll see an occasional deer, fox, skunk, and all types of wildlife. And to my knowledge, Toledo doesn't have bears roaming around, especially in the city. Well, this incident took place maybe a block away from our zoo. Toledo has one of the best zoos in the United States, but really just known for the Christmas light display. Well, at this time, I worked in home health care with MRDD individuals. I'm not sure what that means, but some kind of individuals with MRDD. So I would have to work inside the homes for extended hours. My shift was 2 to 11 p.m. and every night I picked my girlfriend up from work at around 9 p.m. and she would just sit with me at work while I finished my shift. Well, each night when we got back to my job, the house, I would tell my clients, MRDD resident of the house, to go unlock his house door and turn on the porch light so we could see. So he unlocked the door while me and my girlfriend stayed behind in my car. Now, back when I had a 2006 Mercury Grand Marquis, and most cars have automatic headlights that turn off a few seconds after you turn the engine off, but this car had a toggle switch to manually turn the headlights on or off. So I hit the toggle switch to turn my headlights off, and I mean as soon as I turned my headlights off, me and my girlfriend saw these two big things just dash down the street ahead. Like I said earlier in the story, I am on a residential street, parked with the right-hand curbside, maybe half a block, but no more than 60 to 70 yards from a four-way stop. My car was facing north at this point, and the two huge black things came from the east of that four-way stop running west. Now, the direction those things ran was a direct path to Walbridge Park and the Maumee River. I'm sorry if it's hard to visualize all this, but I'm trying my best. What makes this so scary is the feeling that I had as soon as I saw them. I struggled to breathe, and I didn't want to breathe too loud or anything. It was just so odd. As far as the description, I didn't see any facial features or anything specific. Eye color, shape, lips, mouth, or nose. I just saw a huge outline of two big things running on all fours. Although these things ran on all fours in my mind, I felt as if that wasn't the natural way it got around. If that makes sense. I never saw them in a stationary position, so while running or galloping, it was at least 5, maybe and a half, maybe 6 feet tall. The galloping and running motion was very elusive, and they were running in sync. From the outline, it was just bulky, muscular, and I could tell this because from what I assumed to be the backs or shoulders, you could see like huge lumps or muscles. Another odd fact was that these things looked to be running with their heads straight down, like a raging bull or something that was sticking up from the neck and head area. This whole encounter lasted about 5 to 7 seconds, enough time to see them take about 3 gallops or strides. Well, after seeing them, my girlfriend flipped out, and I mean, she was calm, but she didn't want to be in that car any longer. To be honest, we didn't really talk about it once we got inside the house. We had other encounters that made us revisit this one. If I saw those two things stand straight up, I'd guess anywhere from 8 to 11 feet tall. On all fours, it looked like a minivan, but bigger, not as long as a van, but just the pure size. And no commentary from Lon on that one, but what is it? Sounds, if you saw like a humping after the head, like in the head and neck area, that does sound consistent with the dog man. I don't know. I mean, it's just the description is really, really vague, but that's what I'm picturing is some kind of dog man thing. Of course, they can be allegedly can be bipedal or quadrupedal, so it could be anybody's guess, but maybe. So that's the first one. What do you guys think it was? I don't have to read more of the story. I heard one similar. I haven't heard Bud Hopkins for a very long time. He was a bit of a pioneer. Nor have I, actually. Chalky, there you are. How are you liking covering more subject matter now, Wes? Well, he likes it just great. I can tell. All right, so we're going to go move to the next one. This one is a black-eyed kids encounter. Is this cryptid? Not really, maybe. I don't know. We don't really know what black-eyed kids are. That's the problem. They could be a cryptid that looks like people. They could be a spiritual thing. They could be extraterrestrial. They could be any number of things. We just don't know. But they're definitely not normal. So let's get to this one. This one's from August 13th. It comes from Tennessee. Tennessee. There we go. What the hell did I do? I hit the wrong button. That's what I did. There we go. All right, let's see what the Tennessee witness concerned by recent black-eyed kids encounters. Like encounters. This is more than one. I think one is enough, personally. Yeah, one, that's probably good for life. But not for this person, apparently, because it's encounters. A Tennessee man has 2 separate black-eyed kid encounters. One in a parking lot and the other at home. Since the last encounter was only 4 weeks ago, he's become concerned. Jeez. Yeah, I'd be concerned too. Especially if you see him at more than one location. It's like, wait, are they following me? Am I being targeted? I received the following account. Hello, sir. I'm contacting you about the black-eyed kid phenomena. I've had 2 encounters with them. The first time was 2 years ago or so, in a gas station parking lot off of Highway 58 in Tennessee. At like 3 or 4 in the morning. I was sitting in the passenger side with my friend's car, waiting for him to come out of the store to buy his cigarettes. I was fairly relaxed enjoying the radio, and then I heard a knock on the window. I looked over, and there was a boy. Yeah, that's how it starts. This is just terrible accounts. He looked about 12, and he was wearing a gray hoodie with his hood pulled up. I cracked the window and asked him what he wanted, and he responded, "Can I borrow your phone?" I was going to let some strange kid use my phone, so I told him that I was sure they'd let him use the one inside the store. He kept insisting on it, though. It was the weirdest thing because the longer he stood there, the more unsettled and scared I started to feel. Well, I'd rolled up the window by this point, and he became something less than aggressive, but more than insistent. And that's when I saw his eyes. His hood slipped back because of his movements. And the only way I can describe the feeling of looking into those eyes is primal fear. That's about the time he quickly moved to the nearby tree line. And a few seconds later, my friend got into the car and he said, I was pale as a ghost, and asked me what was wrong. Well, at that time, I had no idea what the hell that was all about and had trouble describing it all to him. He looked at me strangely and said that he didn't see the kid at all. Well, that really got to me. So when I got home, I couldn't sleep and found out exactly what I had encountered. The second encounter happened shortly afterwards at my house. Yeah, that's disconcerting as hell. And this is about 3.5 weeks ago. I'm a night owl, so I'm up at pretty ridiculous times of the night, a lot of the time. And I was up around 3:30-ish in the morning yet again and watching YouTube videos. Yeah, you can burn your life away on YouTube. My God. And then I heard a knock at the front door. And I would have normally just avoided a knock on the door at that time of night, but my roommate's girlfriend had only left about 20 minutes prior, so I assumed it was her having forgotten something. It wouldn't have been the first time. So I went to the door and cracked it a bit to look outside, and there was these 3 kids. One looked to be about around a 16-year-old girl, and the other 2 were little boys who appeared 6 and 10, respectively. They wouldn't look directly at me, held their heads at a downward angle. The porch light cast a pretty heavy shadow over the features, so what they were was again obscured. I hadn't forgotten about my previous encounter, but I didn't know any of the neighborhood yet and couldn't just assume black-eyed kids when it could have been some desperation standing at my doorstep. Well, I opened the door a bit more before I could ask what they were after. The girl said, "Can we come in and use your phone?" I told her I could fetch it and let her use it, but again she asked to come inside. And it was as if I hadn't said anything at all, and her insistence grew, just like the last time. She stepped from the front walk to the bottom step of my stoop and looked up at me. And I saw those eyes again. Slammed the door and went back to the living room, a good distance away from the front door. I heard a few more knocks over the following few minutes, growing more aggressive with each volley, until they stopped. I didn't dare get close to the door or windows again until sunrise, and I've since installed security cameras around the perimeter of the house, and if they come back, I'll post the footage. Yeah, that's so creepy. I mean, what are the odds that you'd have, and again, can we be sure that this is a legitimate claim? No, but if it could be. It doesn't sound atypical, but there's no saying for sure. But if it is legitimate, the odds of having one black-eyed kid encounter, I think, are pretty astronomical. Like there isn't that many. And yeah, thanks, Grandizer. Watching Paranormal Portal, well, then that's a good use of your time. But what are the odds of 2? And it's not even the same kids. It's like different appearances. First one was a little boy, and then it's a 16-year-old looking girl with 2 little boys. I don't know, man. It's like Jehovah's Witness from hell or something. It's like, no, that's not good. I don't know how that works, but Yeah, door knocking in the dead of the night is just a bad thing, usually all around. I mean, you certainly don't want to miss the opportunity to help somebody that desperately needs help, of course. But God, when you think about the opportunity, that's something, something like a black-eyed kid is just waiting there for you. Ugh, yeesh. Creepy stuff, folks. So that's the second story tonight. How are we doing for time? 8:37. Wow, we're cooking through the night. Cooking with the night gas. I'm not really gassy. What was this one? Oh, this one is not the one I wanted to read anyway. I got to figure out where it is. Oh, this one. This one is maybe a Skinwalker claim. This is one I talked about last night that we would cover tonight. And by God, I guess we will. This one's from August 14th. Again, special thanks to Lon for letting us use Phantoms and Monsters. And definitely check out his shows, his site, all of it. All right, here we go with the next one. I almost pushed the wrong button again. Phantoms and Monsters brings us black-faced old woman, possibly Skinwalker, encountered on Navajo reservation. Now, these claims, again, I'm sure some of them out there, maybe even a good majority of them are creative writing. It's hard to know. I mean, when you're looking at these account stories, can you know? No, not really. I mean, only the person that's reporting it really knows for sure if their experience is really genuine or not. But all we can do is just look at the narrative and see if it kind of gels with other things we've heard. Maybe it could be real. But the Skinwalker stories are so rare. I would say even rarer than Black-Eyed Kids encounters, which don't pop up that much. Sometimes they seem to come up in spurts, but the Skinwalker stories are incredibly rare. And I think they're fascinating because, again, there's a whole bunch of tradition and legend and lore and history involved in these claims. So it's not just a new idea. This is something that's been around for potentially thousands of years. I don't know how long the history of Skinwalkers is, especially in the Navajo culture or other First Nation cultures, but it's definitely old. Some of the original stories that I've heard about Skinwalkers was that they were initially regarded as benevolent and helped the Navajo fight against Spain and its attempts to conquer what was North America at the time. That the Skinwalkers were regarded as essentially heroes and were benevolent and revered in the culture. But then something changed and it became dark somehow, like whether it was the power or the desire for more power or more control or whatever, but suddenly they were no longer revered and they were shunned and taboo. And so something shifted. But as far as I can tell, that's the oldest histories I'm aware of the Skinwalkers, was helping to defend against the Spanish expansion in North America. So the Spaniards, you got it, Grandizer. All right, let's check out this one. Black-faced old woman, possible Skinwalker, encountered on Navajo reservation. A Navajo witness was driving in the reservation in Arizona when they encountered on numerous occasions the same old woman along the way. Was the old woman a shape-shifting witch or a spirit? I received the following account. Hello. I believe I once witnessed a shape-shifting witch. My older brother, older sister, and I were going home for the weekend, and we were coming in from Phoenix, Arizona. We had to leave pretty late. It usually takes us 5 hours to get home, which is in Low Mountain near Pinon, Arizona. We drove towards, Keams Canyon? I always have to look extra close if that's an RN or an M. Keams Canyon Highway, and took a certain dirt road that would take us straight to Low Mountain. Before we reached the dirt road, we noticed a very old lady walking on the side of the highway with a cane at 2 o'clock in the morning. She had her scarf around her head, a long black jacket, and wearing a green dress. We did not think anything of it, but We thought it was weird and that she was walking late at night on the highway. The reservation is really dark at night, and there is hardly anyone driving on the roads. We eventually turned on the dirt road. A mile away from the highway, we noticed the same old lady walking on the side of the dirt road with her cane. Well, I freaked out. I started crying because we knew that it was the same lady 15 miles back. My brother stepped on the gas and started driving faster, and he gave us some medicine to protect us from harm. We eventually got to a highway that took us to Chinle, Low Mountain, or Pinnan, and we passed the first bridge, and we noticed that the old lady was sitting on the highway with her head down, waving the cane in the air. Before we could pass the car, before we could pass her, the car just shut down and would not start. The old lady stood up facing the opposite way from us, so we wouldn't see her face, and walked across to the other side of the road. She turned her head to face us, and her face was painted all black. She kept walking and eventually disappeared in the distance. My brother turned the ignition and the car started. It scared the hell out of me. I was crying so bad that I never wanted to drive through that road again. When we got home, we told our parents about it. My dad said that there was an old couple that lived between the two highways that did bad medicine on people. He also said that her husband had passed on not long ago, and that she walks that road every now and then. They had 2 kids. One of them passed away at a very young age with an unknown cause of death, and the other one drinks and huffs. We ended up driving back the longer way, which was taking the highway, to the junction road and going towards Ganado. It was very real and very scary. Yeah, no doubt. That's horrifying. Brent, you have to wonder how many got attacked by a skinwalker before Rhodes. Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. Unfortunately, the First Nations aren't real candid in sharing these kind of stories. I mean, they do come out. And sometimes I think a lot of it is due to the younger generation just being more a part of the modern world and, an eagerness to share their histories, which I think is wonderful. And we all stand to learn from that. But the older generations, they just don't talk about this stuff because, honestly, there's a real belief in a lot of First Nations cultures that speaking of a thing creates an attachment or can draw a thing to you. And so they don't like to talk about the skinwalkers because they don't want to draw them to them. And for obvious reasons. I mean, they sound horrifying, but that is really, really bizarre to see the same person on 3 different stretches of road, miles and miles apart. Jeez, I don't know. That's crazy. That is crazy stuff, folks. But there you have it. That's that story. What was this one? What? Oh, wow. There's another one? Yeah, there's another one. God, I got a lot of Black-Eyed Kids stuff tonight. I didn't remember I had 3 of them pulled up from Lon's Phantoms and Monsters, but it turns out I do. So we're going to get into this one because we're kind of doing a Black-Eyed Kids trifecta here. Let's do this. Here it is. phantomsandmonsters.com. Creepy and terrifying Black-Eyed Kid encountered in Portland, Oregon. I didn't just read this, right? Okay. No, I didn't. A Portland, Oregon resident contacts me about terrifying encounters, again, plural, with Black-Eyed Kids at her apartment building. She's unable to get photographs of these kids' creepy series of incidents. I received the following account. Hello. Please don't take this lightly. Here's what happened to me 2 nights ago. I was encouraged by friends who tell me people need to know what I've experienced, and I recently moved into a condo in southeast Portland, Oregon, outside of downtown, and it's pretty rural here. And there are more houses and condos than apartment complexes. Well, I was out on my balcony smoking a cigarette when I noticed something strange. Now, I'll preface this by saying I've heard of black-eyed kids, children, people, whatever. I don't usually get spooked by scary stories or creepypastas. They're all fun and games, right? No harm. Well, I've had weird things happen to me that I can't explain. Don't get me wrong. My boyfriend swears I was possessed once. I had an object thrown at me by no one when I was alone in the basement. Paranormal weirdness that I don't bother much to try and understand. I dismiss it and just go on with my life. I never believed I'd be writing something like this. I'm a graduate student on a professional track, and I stay pretty firmly grounded in scientific and reasonable explanations, whether I know what they are or not. I favor the belief they underlying everything. I favor the belief they underlying everything. I don't understand that sentence. So on my balcony smoking across the condo complex, on a neighbor's balcony, I see two silhouettes. It's late, around 2 a.m., and it's a weeknight. One was slightly taller than the other, but they looked to be females around the age of 8 to 12, with one a bit older. I saw movement and the two stood close to one another. I could hear them knocking on the second-story balcony door. My light was off, so aside from my cigarette burning, I don't think anyone could see me well enough to know that I was there. And once I saw them, I was frozen still. I don't know why, but as soon as I could make out their shapes, I felt an overwhelming sense of terror. Something imminent and dangerous was preying on me, and I couldn't move. After some time, 10 minutes of paralyzing fear and listening to their knocks, the light in the condo came on and someone opened the blinds. I was afraid for them. I wanted to yell to the neighbor to stop, but I was more afraid that they'd see me, and I can't explain it, but I knew I didn't want them to know I was watching. The neighbor stepped back, I think confused and apprehensive. I could understand why. I heard the voice of the older, taller one, and it's burned into my mind. It was completely monotone and seemed to be devoid of any life or cheer. A kid is usually happy sounding, even if they aren't happy. But it was so weird. I knew it wasn't the voice of a child or even a person. It wasn't human. Something in this voice was wrong. I couldn't hear exactly what she said. Oh, Jesus, what did I just do? What the hell did I just do? I clicked something by accident. What did I just do? Oh my God. Hold on a sec. Technical difficulties. I had a muscle twitch and I hit a mouse button. I got to go to history here. This is it? Nope, that's the Skinwalker one. God, what in the hell is going on? Where did it go? No. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. It just literally just like my muscle twitched. Maybe I got to go this way. Oh, there we go. This is it. Okay. Oh yeah, this is it. Okay. I don't know. I hit it. There's a weird mouse. I got this new mouse since my mouse died, and it's got these side buttons, and I hit one of them by accident with my thumb, and it actually brought it back to a blank tab. So my apologies. I could hear them knocking on the second story. The light was on, preying on me. I couldn't move. I'm trying to figure out where I was. Okay, a kid is usually happy sounding, even if they aren't happy, but it was so weird. I knew that the voice wasn't the voice of a child or a person. It wasn't even human. Something in the voice was wrong. I couldn't hear exactly what she was saying, but at one point the smaller one turned around and stared straight at me, like she knew I was there. The whole time, I almost pissed myself. Still paralyzed with fear, I couldn't move. I saw pale skin and huge black eyes. It was dark, It was far, but I know what I saw. Then she turned. When she turned, the light from inside the neighbor's balcony shed light on them, so I could see well enough to know her eyes were pitch black. Her clothes were strange and old, outdated, and she was expressionless. The neighbor had the door open only an inch or two, and her hand looked ready to slam it shut. The taller girl became angry, and she seemed as though she was going to make her way through the damn door. The neighbor slammed it and locked it hard. I could hear the fear of that woman with the intensity in which she locked that door. She stepped back from the door, leaving the blinds drawn, and I lost sight of her. They stood before the smaller one and looked up at the taller one. The two looked at each other and said nothing. No communication, and in unison looked towards me. And I broke free of my paralysis to bolt inside and lock the door, still holding my cigarette with its filter burning at this point. I kept the light off and kept my eyes on their shadowy silhouettes. And this is where it gets crazy sounding, and I searched desperately for a way to say this to anyone, that anyone reading this can comprehend the sheer shock, terror, and seriousness at what I witnessed with my own two eyes. They effing dematerialized. I mean, they just turned into almost a swarm of what could have been bees or insects and disappeared. Swear to God on my life, I watched the spot where they had been standing for what had to be the longest 60 seconds or so of my life. And I stepped back away from the window in fear of them popping up behind me or something. I was shaking violently, and my cat rubbed on my leg, meowing in some attempt to console me because he sensed my fear. I noticed my cigarette filter was still on my hand, was flattened from me pinching it so hard. I looked down at my cat and back outside because I wanted to try and find them. I looked where they were on the porch to see if I'd gone insane temporarily and if they were just hiding there or something. But they were gone. My neighbor returned to where I could see her in the window. She was on the phone, probably with the police, and that's when I noticed them again. Directly above her on the roof. Just standing above her, holding hands. Then they got on their hands and knees, and I was completely gripped by fear and horrified by what I was seeing. Backtrack a bit. Since we moved, we've been hearing things on the roof at night, running back and forth. Footsteps, dropping something heavy sounds, which is weird because we're on the second and top floors. We have been arguing with the neighbors who say we're making too much noise during the quiet hours of 10:30 to 6 a.m., which we definitely don't. And I'm always sleeping due to medical school, and my boyfriend stays up late, but always by himself, and we don't have a TV, so he just reads or looks stuff up on his phone. He doesn't stomp around or move furniture, so I always thought it was weird that it sounds like people are walking above us or running or whatever it is. I chalked it up to trees hitting the rooftop and whatnot. So these kids are on the roof somehow. I don't know how they could have gotten up there. They get on their hands and knees and are moving on top of this lady's roof, and it looked like they may have been scratching at it or digging at it, but I could see their black eyes in contrast to their skin, with their heads cranked up straight, watching me through the window of my balcony. And they were both looking at me, which was extremely unnerving. I didn't even know what the hell was happening or why. I knew I had to get some kind of proof of what was happening, but I was terrified to take my eyes off of them and lose them from view. I knew my phone was plugged in the charger in the kitchen, and something in my head said to me, not in my voice, "Don't move. You may not like where you see me next." Like something was talking to me in my mind. It scared me so much I felt like my heart was going to explode. I wished someone other than my cat was there, so I could validate what I saw and ask them to bring me my phone so I didn't lose sight of them. But the phone is important, and I must prove I'm not crazy. I broke our staring match and ran to the kitchen. Just breaking the gaze eased a bit of the terror, but I was still shaking. I grabbed my phone and went back to the window, and they stood up in unison. I pulled up my camera and snapped, but the flash reflected on my window, and it was crappy nothing picture. I think it upset them. I was trying to photograph them, and they started disappearing, and like I said earlier, dematerializing or something, because you could see pieces of them all fading sporadically, lessened into them not being there at all. I continued looking at the roof, the balconies, and even down below. I couldn't see anything or anyone. My neighbor was still on the phone at the door. Her husband or significant other or male roommate was there with her, and she was pointing up and talking to either him or whoever was on the phone. She pointed outside and stomped her foot, and he was shaking his head in what seemed like disbelief, and she passed him the phone and left my line of sight into her condo. I wanted to go out on my balcony, but I was still very afraid. I felt wrong, sick to my stomach, and from the intensity of the experience. I told my boyfriend about it when he came home, and he was very freaked out. He's never seen me get upset or literal tears about anything, and knows I'm a diehard skeptic of aliens, ghosts, and anything paranormal. I dismiss every photo and video as a hoax and think with everything anyone can do technologically wise, there has to be a reasonable explanation. It shook me to my core, and I wish the story ended there. The next night I was smoking on my balcony, and this was last night. It was earlier than before, and this time my boyfriend was home. I felt creeped out, but okay to go out with him within scream's reach, so I was going to have a quick cigarette before bed. I was in a robe and slippers, and this time I turned my light on. I sat down, lit my cigarette with the balcony door still open, and took a long drag and exhaled and heard 2 coughs somewhere above me. Oh my God. I knew exactly what it was. I froze and a deep sense of dread boiled up, just like the night before. I threw my cigarette and almost tripped, sliding inside the door. I locked it immediately, at which point my cat began freaking out because he hates being locked out, and followed me outside. He was going bananas, screaming pathetically and frantically, and I gave in and opened the door, and he bolted inside, and I slid it closed and locked it again. I kept the light on and called my boyfriend over. "They're on the freaking roof," I said, and we both got quiet. We heard footsteps above us, and his eyes got big. We stood there silent and still, just listening. They sounded like they were heading toward our front door. I ran over to it to double lock it using the top lock, which we always leave open. As soon as I touched it, I felt this cold, creeping, depressing sadness come over me like a wave. And there it was. Knock, knock, knock. They were waiting for me to open the door. I meekly said, "Who's there?" Timid and way less courageous sounding than I would have liked. And that voice from the prior night, that dead, lifeless voice, was being directed at me. "Ma'am, you have to let us in. Please help us." I didn't say anything. I wish my door had a peephole, but it doesn't. So I started backing away. Knock, knock, knock. My boyfriend came up behind me and gave me his phone. He said, "We have to get a picture or no one will believe this," softly in my ear. I shook my head knowing he was right and started to approach the door again, hoping to sneak a photo through the high window to the right of the door. When I was just a few steps away, the taller one lifted her face up to the freaking window and shook her head in a disapproving no. The blinds were mostly down, but I could see her face almost entirely except for her lips and chin. Those big black eyes with absolutely no white anywhere. They were huge, like too big to be human eyes, and there was no way she could reach my window. She had to be floating up there to look in, which made me really confused and scared. I had my camera up and ready and snapped the picture without a flash, and then I looked at it. She wasn't in it. I'm serious. She should have been. I snapped it while she was there, and she was still there after I took it, but she wasn't in the freaking picture. I looked back at her soulless, creepy face, and she somehow smiled without smiling, like, you can't prove this happened. I almost wanted to open the door and be like, what the hell are you? And that's when it happened again. And my boyfriend saw it too. She just slowly fell apart into nothingness and vanished. The heaviness lifted and my boyfriend and I were floored. He asked me if we should open the door and look, and he asked if I got the picture, and I gave him the phone to see for himself, and he was like, no way. What the hell? I don't know what they are, but there is a reason there are no pictures of them that are real. They can't be photographed. Does that mean they exist in another dimension? Or that they're dead or vampires? I never would have believed anyone if I heard my story from anywhere else. If it didn't happen to me, there would be no way I'd give it the time of day. But it did happen to me. I'm really scared. It's going to keep happening, or worse. What do I do? I'm so grateful to be alive, but the terror I felt around these girls really has me on edge. I'm so scared of going out on my balcony or even leaving my house at night or going to my house. It doesn't feel safe. And I have no way to legitimize what happened or do anything about it. I want answers. I want to know what they are. I want to ask them if I see them again, but it's like I can't even speak around them. I'm just almost completely immobilized. How does someone combat something like this? It's like something from Stephen King novel, but it actually happened. I feel like they're really pissed that I tried to take their pictures. And I don't know what's going to happen next, if anything. But I had to get it out somehow because it is real. It does exist. And it's changed everything I've ever thought about paranormal experiences. So scared. I hope they don't ever come back. But I know from hearing things at night, they may be here more often than I'd like to believe. And whether I see them or not, they are there. And I have no way to prove it. Really frustrated and soul shaking. Anyone help? Answers? Advice? What are they and what do they want? Has this happened to anyone else or something similar? And that's it. Wow. That's a crazy story. I've heard similar one where they kind of just disappeared one place and ended up on a roof before from a different story. So that is creepy stuff. That's trippy, Brent. They're like vampires hanging out. Hang out some garlic. Yeah, that might be something. I'll tell you what, they can't seem to break a threshold without permission. Whatever reason, I don't know, but they do seem to have a compulsion, much like the vampire stories. They can't just enter. They need permission. And then there's a few stories out there of them having entered and the health problems that afflict the people that are in the house are terrifying. Like usually the people in the house, if they let them in, they'll get dizzy and lose consciousness and wake up later and they're all sickly. And some people have apparently wasted away. Other people have been horrendously sick for a long period of time. So it does seem to have some kind of pathogen to it. I don't know. Whatever the hell they are creepy. Creepy, creepy, creepy. But there you have it. We even went a little long tonight, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the journey. Thank you so much for being here with me. OT on the Paranormal Portal? This is the OT. You got 6 minutes of it. Actually, more like 8 or 10. I usually stop at about 5 minutes till or thereabouts, but I gave you 6 minutes after. So that's because I love you guys, because there won't be any scheduled shows until the 13th, Friday the 13th of September. So I hope you guys will show up then. But again, if you're not already subscribed, please get subscribed. Ring the bell and hit all notifications on YouTube so you know when I do stream. I don't know when that's going to be, but I can tell you I'll be streaming. At least some. It just depends on the conference and how busy I am and how much there is to show you. But I'll at least give you one good tour through the conference, and then maybe some live streaming with Jaron on Thursday night. All right. That's going to wrap it up for tonight. Good night to you, Karen, and my best to Neil as well. Give him our love. Brent, sometimes we urge Jimmy Church to go overtime, and if he has a really good guest. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's I'm not opposed to going overtime. It's just I have generally given you my all in 2 hours. These shows, they end up we end at roughly 9 p.m., but you got to understand I've been going since like 5 a.m. Generally, I'm up, or 6, and I've been going all day. So you have to understand, I just don't have a lot of gas in the tank. But I've given you the best 2 hours of my days when we do these shows, so I hope that's good. Night, Brent, fun times. I'm down. Let's wrangle Tony. I don't know. I think Tony's probably going to be plenty busy. He's got to do a lot of events, and he is speaking, and I'm sure he'll be doing some VIP stuff. So I don't know how much we'll see Tony, but we'll try to visit with him as much as we can. I won't go live for interviews if I do interviews down there, unless I do some man on the streets kind of questions for people that stop by the booth. That's always possible. But I may interview people there, and you'll hear those interviews in the form of podcasts, which is what I've done historically when I've had a chance to interview some of the people at Vernal, and I've got these nice lapel mics to use this time, so we should have good audio quality if all goes well. I think it should. I just got to make sure they're good and charged up, and that I got enough memory in my recorder. So at any rate, that's the show. Don't go. Please stay. We promise we'll change. I don't want you to change. I love you guys just like you are. And because you're my people, and I'm your people, and we're just people together. Great show, Brent. Gonna miss the show, and everyone. See you Friday the 13th. Hope you have a great time at the conference. Stay safe, brother. Thank you, Isaac. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I know these conferences are a lot of work. You know, you end up talking and visiting and networking for 8 or 10 hours, and then my social battery is already on empty after a few hours. But I do love these events. I do love getting a chance to meet some of you and to talk to new people and let them know what we're doing. But yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Enjoy the week, everyone. Yeah, absolutely. And, have a great rest of your holiday weekend. Everybody be safe and take care of each other. Remember, love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Thanks, Wes, for stopping by. It's great to see you, brother. And I wish you were going to be there. That would have been the trifecta right there. I'm just saying. But at any rate, that's all we got time for. Chucky, thank you again for the question of the week, brother. That was a great one. I don't know if you were here then, but when I read it, or even part of the way through it, but you did great. And thank you so much for all your efforts, brother. And thank you to our wonderful mods and admins over on Rumble, and our mods over on Rumble, and on Discord, and on Twitch. Thank you, Gypsy. Hope your connection's doing okay. And that's going to do it. Gruntardo, good to see you. Enjoy the time with your son. Thank you, brother. I will. No, thank you, Chucky. It's been amazing that you've been helping out with that. It just really, every little bit helps, and that's a big thing off my plate. So, all right. Good to see you, Natu. I missed y'all. Been working on a song. Just dropped it today. Oh, yeah. Check out Not Too Haunted's YouTube. He does post music as well. I just noticed that tonight, and I got to check out some of that. So, all right. You can check the Discord, too. I think he posts some of his links on Discord. You can check it out. That's it for me. Paranormal Portal with Brent Thomas was taped in front of a live studio audience. There's the applause. All right. That's it for me, guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. Next time you hear from me, probably be on the way to Vernal. I'll try to stream a little bit from the road if we can, just to show you guys the sights. The unfortunate thing is I can't live stream a lot of it because driving through the mountains, there's not a lot of connections, even data and stuff. So I'll stream when I can, though, let you know where we're at and how it's going. But at any rate, take care, guys, and I'll see you from Vernal next. Good night, everybody.